If you look at the game plan going in, every one of the main power sources in Texas produced less than was expected. And that includes wind that had less output than expected. But the politicians focusing on that are really picking the one most unique tree within a forest that collapsed, because wind was only expected to be roughly 8% of the peak supply at the time when the supply when we needed the most demand. So yes, wind underperformed. Our wind turbines aren't winterized like they are in some parts of the world. Iowa gets more of its power from wind than we do. Denmark gets more of its power than we do. Those are colder places. There are wind turbines working on Antarctica. So that's the wind story that the politicians really hit upon. But the rest of the story was that everything else really failed us, and gas failed us more than everything else combined. So we had one of our 4 nuclear units in the state went down because its water supply froze and its intake couldn't handle it. We had really an astonishing amount of coal that went down. Lost numbers are still coming in, but lost on the order of a third of our coal capacity. When you really expect coal to be running all out, we put up with so much pollution and other air and water and waste and other pollution from it throughout the year, with the idea that it's going to be there when we need it most. It really slumped with I think operational failures that remain to be explored. But then just overwhelming everything else was the way that our gas electricity output collapsed, largely because the gas supply failed us. Is that everywhere from the oil and gas drillers through the collection lines, the compressors that weren't backed up, that were dependent on the electricity that went down, up to not maintaining the pressure in the system. And so we did have natural gas power plants that failed and had icicles and frozen, but we had far more plants that were there ready to operate and couldn't get a consistent supply of gas, couldn't get it at the pressures they need to operate at all. And so the power plant companies are saying, hey, we winterized, but you saw this unique vulnerability of needing that continuous supply of a fossil fuel that makes gas uniquely vulnerable to this kind of systemic collapse that you don't see with other fuels.